I'm going to teach you two things in this lesson. Pay close attention. Number one thing I will teach you is how to multiply positive and negative numbers. The second thing I will teach you is how to divide positive and negative numbers. The rule applied to both is the same, which is why I'm combining them into one lesson. The rule is very simple. I won't explain to you why this rule works. I'll either save that for class time or I will make a future video on it. I just need you to memorize how it works. That's it. When you multiply and divide numbers, this is the rule. If the signs are the same, the answer is positive. If the signs are different, the answer is negative. And it's very important you look at the signs of each number being multiplied or divided. You have to look at the signs of both numbers to decide this. Look. Whether I'm dividing or multiplying, look at the signs of both numbers. If I have a negative number, imagine there's a number in front of these. If I have a negative times another negative, it doesn't matter that they're negative. All that matters is that they are the same sign. Imagine them, they're two bad guys. Bad guy with another bad guy. They're hanging out with each other. Do they get along or not? Yeah, they do get along. They like each other. They enjoy each other's company, which is why they're very happy together. Likewise, if you have two good guys hanging out, positive guy with a positive guy or girl, doesn't matter, then they are also going to get along. So the answer will still be positive. Okay, you with me here? Well, the signs, if they are different, if you have a good guy and he's hanging out in the company of a bad guy, are they going to get along? No, they will not get along. They're going to be very miserable together because the good guy wants to do good and the bad guy wants to do bad, and they're very sad because nobody wants to do what the other one does. So they are very miserable together. Okay? If you're dividing, it's the same thing. If you have two bad guys, happy. Two good guys, happy. Bad guy, good guy, miserable. So let's write this down. This makes what? Positive. This makes negative. This makes positive. How about these? Positive, good. How about this? Yes. And this one? Right on. If you understand this, we'll move on. If not, watch this part again. You have to understand this and you have to be very good at it because we won't be using calculators in this lesson. It'll be all automatic, mental power involved, and you're going to get very good at it. Look, we have, oh wow, look at all these questions. Yeah, we will do all of them. Now look, here, we're going to start on the left side. You don't see any multiplication or division. Doesn't, like, what is it asking us to do? It says -4, it says +3, but what do we do with them? If you don't see a sign, if you see two numbers side by side in brackets, it always means multiply. So we'll do that. Just multiply. I'm not going to put a times sign. I'm just going to say, hey, look, multiply. Ignore the signs. Look at the number. 4 times 3, 12. Excellent. Bad guy, good. Yes, they don't get along. Negative answer. Here we have 6 and 3 is 18. Negative and negative is positive when you multiply. The rule is different for addition. Remember that. Okay, this is only for multiplication and division. Let's move on. 8 times 2 is what? 16. Oh, but there's no sign in front of the 8. Yes, there is. If you don't see a sign, it's automatically a positive. So here we have a positive, good guy. Here we have a negative, bad guy. They don't get along. Here we have two positives. Yes, positive 30. I'll choose not to write the positive here because they are optional. If you write it, great. If you don't, we assume it's positive. 3 and 7, 21. Negative and negative. Two bad guys make happy. Here we have 21 again, but the signs are different, so it's negative. Now what about this middle column? What's happening here? Mr. Mellum, you said we're just doing multiplication division. Why do you have fractions here? You know, fractions, it's a great question, by the way. Fractions are division. That line in the middle, that just means divide this number with that number. Okay? So we're going to take the 6 divided by the 2. That's going to make 3. And then we'll look at the signs and say, oh, they're the same. Bad guy with bad guy makes a positive answer. Positive 3. Here we have 12 divided by 3. What's 12 divided by 3? Right. 4. Negative with a positive. Excellent. 28 divided by 4 is 7. Positive divided by negative is a negative. 54 divided by 9 is what? Come on, quick skills, quick reflex. Come on, what is it? Yes, 6. Positives, both of them. Here we have 24 divided by 8. That's a 3. The signs are different, negative and positive. Okay, that's all right. We've got this here. It's starting to click in, right? 16 divided by 4 is 4. The signs are the same, negatives, so we make a positive. Here we have 32 and 16 is what? Yes, 2. The signs are the same, positive, positive makes positive. And here we have 50 divided by 5. Come on, what is it? 10, very good. And the signs are different, makes negative 10. Okay, if you understand this, we'll move on to some more challenging questions. Otherwise, I hope you wrote this all down. If not, go ahead and write all these questions down and see if you get the same answers I do. If you do, move on. These are a little more challenging. Okay, what do we have here? We have 4 times 3 times 2. We'll ignore the signs for now. Okay, what's 4 times 3? 12. 12 times 2? 24. Now, what about the signs? Because we don't have 2, we have 3 in a row. Here's what you do. Take this one and this one. These are going to make a negative, right? They're different. Negative. Now, that negative has to hang out with that negative. Yes, positive 24. Here we have 8 times 2 is 16. Times 3 is 48. The signs, look, here's a positive with this negative. What's it going to be? Negative. And that negative that you get is going to hang out with that negative to make another positive. 4 times 7 divided by 2. Well, what do we do first? Bed mass. Right. We do bed mass because bed mass is not optional. It is mandatory for any equation that you do. The B is for brackets. Do we have any brackets? No. Well, yeah, we do, but there's no equation in the bracket, so we can skip it. There's just a number. Exponents, no, we don't have addition, subtraction. It's just division and multiplication. So we have to do division first, right? No. You do the one that comes first. Division and multiplication, whichever one comes first from left to right is what you do. So we're going to go left to right. We see, okay, we have to times first. So we have 4 times 7. That's 28. Positive or negative? Positive. That positive 28 now is going to divide by 2. Negative 2. What's 28 divided by 2? Right, 14. Positive divided by negative will make, yes, they are different. We get this as an answer. Now we'll move on to this one. 6 times 3 times 3. It's all multiplication, baby. We just multiply straight out. What's 6 times 3? 18. What's 18 times 3? Oh, okay, 54. Let's see here. 18 times 3, just go like this. 3 times 8 is 24. 3 times 1 plus 2 is 5. So we have 54. Positive or negative? Did you say negative? Yes, it is negative because look, these two here, they make a positive. Times a negative makes a negative answer. Last question. Ooh, that's a monster one here. Let's see what we can do here. We have 2. Now ignore the signs. Just multiply straight up. 2 times 6 is 12. Times 1 is 12. Times 2, that's 12 times 2. 24. Times 2 is 48. 48 times 6. Okay, we might need to do this. 48 times 6. That makes 40. 6 times 8 is 48. 24, okay, we have 288. Times 1 is still 288. I'm ignoring the signs. Times 2, I'm going to have to double this. That makes 16. That makes 17. That makes 576. But is it positive or negative? Okay, stay with me here. Look, positive times positive is what? Positive. Times negative. Negative. Times another negative. What's a negative times a negative? Positive. Times a positive. Positive. Times another positive. Also positive. Now take that positive. We have positive so far. Times it by this negative. What do you get? Yes, you get a negative answer. Positive and negative. Negative. Times that negative by another negative. You get a positive. And that's the answer that you get. Now that was a lot. That's pretty challenging. So you might have to rewind the tape and just follow along with what I just did there. I promise it'll make sense. We have the last page to work on. We have division and multiplication again in the same equation, in the same equation. So BEDMAS says do them in the order that they appear, left to right. So we'll do division first. Ignore the signs. 24 divided by 8 is what? 3. Negative or positive? Negative. because they're different. Take that -3, put it in brackets, times it by -2. +6. Very good. Let's move on to this one. 2 times 24 is 48. Let's do that. Left to right. 48. Is it positive or -48? Positive 48. Put it in brackets. Divided by what? Divided by +8. That makes 6. +6. Very good. Let's keep on going. 3 times 7 divided by 3 times 3. In the order that they appear. That's what BEDMAS says. Between times and division, multiplication, division, you do them in the order that they appear. Okay, so 3 times 7, that makes 21. -21. Then we have to divide by 3. -3 times by +3. Okay, now next step. 21 divided by -3. Notice how I rewrote it out. 21 divided by 3 is 7. +7. That's the only part we did right now. Times by 3. Now we can go like this and say it's 21 and we've got our answer. It's a +21. When you see a question that's a fraction and a whole bunch of numbers on top and a whole bunch on the bottom, I recommend that you do the top first, put the answer down, do the bottom last, put the answer, and then either divide and get an answer or just reduce the fraction if it can't be divided. Okay, so let's see what happens here. 3 times 5 is what? 15. Now I'm just going to do it straight out. Okay, so follow along. 3 times 5 is 15. Times 3 is 45. Times 2 is 90. Tell me, is it positive or -90? These two make negative, times a positive is a negative, times a negative is a positive. Yes, +90. Divided by -8. Now you can't divide these. 8 and 90 don't go into, like 8 doesn't go into 90. So all you can do here is reduce the fraction. So how do we reduce? What can we divide by? Well, 4 goes in, or not 4, but 2 goes into both. We can divide by 2 and divide by 2 to get 45 over 4. Now look at this. That's a positive. We can't ignore the signs. Positive and a negative. What does that make? A negative. Well, I know some of you are thinking, does that negative go to the top number or does it go to the bottom number? It doesn't matter. I just like to put it in the middle.